so you guys can update Orixion on what you did in your endeavours.
After you, Bonbon.
I got an Ari. Got a pet.
Cool, good update.
You got a pet, Daryl.
Yeah. A Moss Story, I think it's called. How do you pronounce it? Yeah. So now I'm gonna be carrying Ari with me wherever we go.
Why didn't you tell Alex why you chose the name Ari?
I think he's smart enough to figure that one out himself.
Isn't this the furry woman from League?
Yeah, but it's not, I mean, not a fairy, but not exactly the reason why.
Daryl like
now,
sexy animal girls.
no, it's because
Yeah,
now
not
we
fairy.
have a family.
Fairy.
Fairy. Sorry, that's
Because now we're a family of 4, and it's Ari, Bertha, Carrich, and Daswell. A, B, C, D.
okay. It's still a little bit creepy, but whatever. What you're
Very proud
into?
of it. Very proud of it.
Does your pet have any combat abilities?
It does, but I'm not going to be using it for combat because if it dies, well, no.
You'll be very sad.
Yes. And that cannot happen. This is literally why I spent 4 XP just to get the Beast Handler, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Training, and also 2 more XP to get the pet. So I genuinely do not want her to die.
Yeah. And it'd be quite easy to kill a little shiny squirrel compared to a level 9 ape in our previous campaign.
Also, I might be able to train her, and we can get some abilities out of her, but I haven't been successful so far. Oh, I can also damage the enemy's armor now. So instead of dealing damage, I'll literally reduce their their armor, make it easier for you guys to hit. And that's where it ends with me.
Nice.
Orixion and Zuriel went on a little adventure.
Oh yay!
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Oh
What
yeah.
did you do?
We went to your hometown.
I've
forgotten the name of it.
It was in
Excelsior.
Yeah.
Ah, that's the one. Yes, we went there and had a little chit chat with their Lord Arcanum. Thanks to Orixion having such a great reputation amongst his fellows and requesting an audience, and through some negotiation that was absolutely not begging, Zuriel has managed to acquire a relic from them, the ancient and powerful Whitefire Tome.
Banging.
After he read about it in a book and was like, we should go and get it. So he's borrowed a grimoire that gives him some spellcasting bonuses. You are tasked, Orixion the Just, with returning it to its rightful place if Zuriel is slain while in its possession.
Orixion naturally took on that solemn duty with the correct spirit, with barely hidden enthusiasm.
Yep.
Very
Yeah,
good.
it was the case. What does the book do again? It gives you +1 spellcasting.
+1 successes if I successfully cast a spell.
Fair play.
So it's pretty nice. And I got some other things while we're just talking about upgrades. Not only have I got devastating bolts on my arcane smites, they now explode as well. So they do some splash damage, which is pretty cool. Maybe he learnt that in the Whitefire Tome.
I should think so.
Yeah, pretty. That's the main thing. So you also picked up another talent, insightful interrogator. Hopefully that will come up at some point.
Oh yeah. Always got stuff to interrogate.
Always.
Yeah, and then Molasses not here, so I'll tell you what she got up to. She basically wanted to do the blood ritual endeavor, and
she asked Zuriel to help.
Yeah, went to all the party. None of them wanted to do it, so she went and found Thistra Heart Seeker, who was the other daughter of Cain from the Blackscale Coil. She found her at the fighting pits. They went back to her shrine, and then they did a nice blood ritual together on Uzik's Molderhide's head.
Really?
Yeah, and I think, because it says that you have to take a minor wound, like a permanent minor wound, but you get a bonus, and that was because the kind of gross, nurgly, sickly stuff coming out of Uzik's head. But throughout all of your endeavours, apart from Carrich, who was in the jungle, but you all heard about this new illness which is sweeping Anvilgard, and you get in fact, even the Lord Arcanum in Excelsis has heard of this issue now in Anvilgard, and that's why he bequeathed the tome to Zuriel. But you have learned that Telari Mistbloom, who you met in your last adventure, she has taken ill with this disease, and she is currently residing in Lady Vespril's, Lady Vespril Caligurus's House of Healing, or Lady Vespril's for short.
Let's see.
And I believe you're all going to visit.
I believe we are.
Apart from, it's fine that Molasses is in here because she didn't care either way. So
Wouldn't really give a shit.
yeah. All right. So you arrive at Lady Vespril's House of Healing, and it is a very nice looking place. It is a large manor-like building. The Vesprils were a noble family who started up this House of Healing. And they have it's like a hospital, but they also have places for Aqua Nurglis treatment and creating new ways of healing people. And in the middle of the building there is a huge garden that the patients can use to rest in, and at the center of the garden there is a giant crystal container filled with Aqua Nurglis. And the interesting thing about Aqua Nurglis is because it's a currency as well as a healing thing, Lady Vespril's is also a bank as well as a house of healing. So people can essentially arrive when they're ill and get a loan of Aqua Nurglis to heal themselves and then pay it back with interest.
What is this? The American healthcare system?
Sounds like it, to be honest.
So as you arrive, there's a crowd of people at the gates. Some of them looking sick and coughing, and then everyone around them who coughed sort of backing away because they're fearful of the ill. And you hear people calling out, wanting to visit relatives and wondering where their relatives have gone and their friends have gone, and they're being kept back by these free guild guards. But as you arrive, the crowd parts easily as they spot your Sigmarite and your giant mallet and Molasses snarling expressions. And you were given an allotted time for visiting, so you are allowed in, and you make your way to the room of Telari Mistbloom. And when you go into her room, she has her own ward because she's, I think I mentioned this before, but she's like the gardener of all the nobles, so she's the only one through her abilities to actually keep gardens from dying off from all of the defoliant. So Lady Vespril herself would have made sure that she was taken care of, but you can already see like these black welts appearing on her skin. What do you say? What do you do? Maybe it's this. I think this is supposed to be like a self-reflecting moment, because obviously Stormcast are immortal, but confronting people who are potentially terminally ill. How does this people you can't protect one way or another? Do you guys care much about that, or is it just another casualty of war? Or
I think it would already be. I mean, we would all have cause to suspect that this plague is chaotic in origin, and therefore, first reaction from Orixion would probably be, righteous disgust and anger and sympathy for all of the victims. So I imagine that would be the reaction. I also imagine that he would probably intend not to show it because he doesn't know anything about this person yet, and for all he knows, she might be involved in spreading it. He's still an inspector of sorts, so he would be sort of respectful, but is not currently leading the party, so probably wouldn't be the greeter.
You know that she's the person from the last mission, though, right? Who was walking with the Kurnoth hunter.
Oh shit! Sorry, her.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Lady Mistbloom, well met.
It's like coming in all suspicious, like, what are you? How do we know that you're not the cause of this?
I think. Is he here?
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Michael.
Michael Bikel.
Hello. Yeah, that was it. Sorry, I'm sorry.
They call
Not sleepy at all tonight.
Slight anecdote is that work-related anecdote. Our CEO at this company is called Michael Patterson,
Ooh,
and
close.
people have been calling him Mickey P. I've obviously been struggling with this because I kind of want to call him Mikey P.
Ah, yes.
But
That's not his name, and you'll get fired if you call him that.
Well, also his name was also not Mickey P. It's like what they
shit.
call him when they're talking about him.
Oof.
It seems like he seems a cool dude. But anyway, I'm like, I can't. But Mikey
Too
P is
worst.
taken.
I can change my name if you want.
No, but you are making P.
We'll make it
That's-
easier
that's
for
the
you.
problem.
I'll do that for you, I promise.
Yeah, maybe you
Also-
can change your username to like OG Mikey P.
OGMP.
OGMP. Ogum.
Ogump. I love it.
Oh no, I've just named your next character.
No,
It's a good
not
one.
food related, so.
Not favorite, it's
Oh my-
true.
But you're not called
Yeah.
Mikey. Where are you called Mikey P?
Places. I think on I don't know, what's
You're
that?
called
I don't know,
Discord
some
Mike
places.
Star on Discord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People always find the Mikey P. I don't know how or where, but it's always becomes my name eventually.
I never called you
Nah.
Mikey P. In all the
No,
time we
it's-
worked together.
Some people
Did
do.
we then create that outside of?
I think so.
Sounds yeah, but also it's also been created many other places over many years, so it's a funny one that always seems to kind of just find its way into my life, which I love. It's a fun one, so
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
And there's that guy from DZTV as well called Mikey P. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
It's like
It's a thing.
CJ or JP or
Yeah. But enough
I never
about
knew
me.
why you
Or
were
like
right.
OP. God, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't leave yourself out.
honestly, I feel dumb because it actually took me a while to understand why it's OP. Like at first, I just thought OP because overpowered was to the dungeon master.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
it kind of
yeah.
clicked. It's all
Because
involved. But with Mikey, I literally had no idea why you were calling him Mikey P. I only found out that his surname was Power like what 2 months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago, was it? Yeah, exactly.
What?
You missed out on the best thing about me.
I was genuinely shocked.
You
I
didn't believe
for
us.
a long time.
I thought he was genuinely just taking the piss.
Yeah, exactly.
we're all strangers, really.
Oh yeah, online friends.
Especially
Never,
those of us
never met in our lives.
Malta.
Anyway, Molasses, you enter. We're at the House of Healing, Lady
Oh.
Vespril's. We're in the ward of Telari Mistbloom, who was ill.
Mhm.
About to have a tender moment, and it got derailed into talking about you. So,
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
Please tenderize yourselves, please.
I think Zuriel would have like a slightly different reaction to Orixion in this whole situation, where he would like very much value the sacrifice and valor of like mortals fighting battles in combat and stuff. It's very sort of brave and noble that they are willing to throw away their lives in that way. But I think faced with this sort of like a plague as a weapon, I think it would just be more like nihilistic, like, God, what's the point in mortal lives if they can just be like squandered like this? So he's probably pretty morose, and would probably just give his respects, like, Telari, I'm so sorry this has happened to you.
Carrich, are you?
Yes.
Is this the moment that your fragile little brain finally breaks and you start murdering everyone with your hammer?
I can't believe
No.
Telari betrayed you too, like dying.
No. I'm trying to keep a little bit of a hold on sanity. So, again, that is why I spent that much XP just to get a pet. That's not.
Yeah,
Don't waste it.
to get your emotional support. My story.
I'm trying to make it make sense.
Yeah. No, all good. Yeah. Yeah, I think I think she's sort of barely conscious. And yeah, just I think you just chat with her and just talk about maybe what's happened since what's it called, Spire Root, the Battle of Spire Root. Sort of entertaining with your tales of heroism and how you saved all of the pods of the Sylvaness. You managed to save them all and stuff.
The pods.
The pods, you know, the Apple pods and the iPods, and
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't manage to save the Sylvaneth. Except for one.
Yeah, I think one branch which survived, I think.
Yeah.
Enough to start a new forest.
Yeah, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. Alex looks happy.
Sorry.
Happy. From Despicable Me 2 by Pharrell Williams from Spotify.
Stop.
Hell yeah.
Alexa, stop!
Is it going to start
Great.
playing Happy by Pharrell Williams?
That doesn't really usually happen in real life. That was brilliant. I'm feeling really happy myself.
No, it's because he said Alex looks happy, and I think it understood
yeah, it did,
Alex
yeah.
looked very happy.
Oh, she'll hear you.
she's
Xbox on.
That was amazing.
Yes. So yeah, I think. I know who got that jade necklace, by the way, from the branch witches. The branch
Zuriel.
witch.
Zuriel's
yes.
wearing a lovely flowery necklace.
Yes, I think Telari remarks on that. And says to you that she used to have one until she managed to learn her own jade magic. And then maybe in a sort of delirious way starts describing how she would sort of maintain all of these gardens in Anvilgard using her magics. And you didn't know that she was a magic user until now. And she is the only one who could do it, so after she goes, then all of the gardens will be destroyed by the defoliant.
Are there any plants in this room now?
Yeah, there probably will be.
Then Zuriel sort of takes the necklace and sort of like, I guess like holds it up like with Telari, and maybe says like a few kind words about growth and life and stuff, and then as he does that, all of the plants in the area grow and bloom with renewed vigor, and it's nice in here now.
Nice. I think she
They
said.
grow with the plague sores on them. Like,
Don't ruin it.
that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
That was very,
Yeah.
very good.
Thankfully, none of them turn into Nalmors, feculent Nalmors.
Like Zyra plants.
Yeah.
Ah!
Burst through the side of the wall. Yeah.
Fuck! I've just given some of these to my mother.
So is Telari involved in? Does she work here as a healer, or is she a patient at this place?
So she uses her magics to maintain gardens for nobles and this place, and she was also friends with the Sylvaneth for that reason.
Yeah.
I think she can heal using her magic, but I think she's all about that horticulture, to be honest.
And this place is like a garden place, that not like a.
It's
Like
a
when you with the big glass thing of Aqua Nurglis, I thought it was some sort of hospital / bank.
yeah, it's like it's basically just a big hospital / bank, because Aqua Nurglis is also a currency. But they have a big garden in the middle, which she used to maintain. So.
But she's not at the hospital as a patient. She's there.
No, she is.
Okay.
That's why we're all being a bit weird about her, because she's lying in bed dying.
Yeah. Okay.
With the black.
But not in bed. She's on
pustules.
her feet in this garden, right? She's not.
No, she's
dying
in
up.
a. No, she's in a ward that you've been
Oh shit. Okay.
assigned.
I guess because Orixion's already thinking of like trying to investigate the sickness. But wouldn't want to seem heartless by just immediately like leaving Telari in her bed and seeking out some sort of healer. So he's just sort of like standing respectfully nearby.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think we can sort of say that your chat. I don't know about Molasses, but probably just picking out her fingernails with a knife, maybe in the corner. I think as you the there's like a bench where people are sitting, and you can see in sort of hospital robes is Morgan Kassan from the Conclave. And as she sees you, she stands up and sort of strides over to you, but then sort of is about to greet you, and then it sort of explodes into a coughing fit.
God, I thought that was going to turn out differently.
Same.
And she sort of greets you and says, I apologize. Go on.
What if we've invested any kind of masks or protective equipment ourselves at any point?
Eternal Rays of Sigmar.
Yeah, you might have Eternal Rays of Sigmar.
He does have a point.
You must wear a mask unless you are exempt or servant of the almighty Sigmar.
I mean, let's be honest, Molasses would be one of those people who printed out a little medical exemption badge or
made
something.
It in paint. Yeah, it's real, mate. Don't ask. But seriously, like, it seems like contagious.
Molasses going into fantasy Tesco being like, I'm exempt, yeah.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, just
You're
make
infringing on my rights.
Having a right to buy a poo.
Right to buy a donut.
Is it contagious? Well, you don't know. You don't know much about this disease. You know it's spread throughout the city. Doesn't seem to be concentrated in any one place. Doesn't seem to be. But you don't. I mean, you can obviously go and talk to. You don't know much about it.
Do they know much about diseases? That's a weird question. But you know what I mean? Like, do they have lots of plagues and pandemics in this world?
I mean,
it's a bit weird. Do we understand what contagion is? I guess, Nurgle, I guess, is kind of a... Surely we'd assume everything is contagious, because everything in this place is awful and will kill you.
Yeah, I mean, they're surrounded by jungle, which has loads of poison and all sorts and stuff, so...
Yeah, honestly, he does have a point. Is there any way for us, like, to actually wear? Because I didn't even think of this, but is there any protective material that we can wear? Because I don't trust.
More like a spell, or like or just distance.
Yeah, just some
social distance. That's the best way. I don't rush over to shake her hand. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Fine. Well, she says anyway. Maybe she covers her mouth. No, she will. She says, "I know it's. I know that we don't particularly work together anymore. I know that you're working with the behest of the Lord Castellan now, but I heard you were making your way here, and I thought you might help me uncover what is behind this disease. I know that you have experience of this. I know you're very tenacious and resilient from your times in the jungle surrounding Anvilgard."
Dr. Orixion steps forward and says, and when did this start happening? How did the symptoms come about? What seems to be the problem?
She says, "Well, that's the thing. I've been trying to talk to the doctors here, but since I'm a patient, they won't treat me like I'm part of the conclave. But I'm sure you would have a lot better effect if you asked them directly as well. But from what I can tell, it starts with coughs and flu-like symptoms before these spots and growths start to appear on the skin, which eventually cause the internal organs to be crushed."
And then, simply death, or something worse? We have encountered many horrors of the plague god in our travels?
It seems to be simply permanent death.
Simple.
Ah, well, that's a relief.
A small one, to be sure, but my brother is right. It is a relief. Death should
Just look at both
at least be a release. But we can hope for better, of course, than that. For you and all of the other sufferers.
You got turned into a zombie, mate, so, you know.
Count your lucky star.
Cut your losses, mate.
When did the first signs of this infection start to be seen in Anvilgard?
She says no one can be sure. It just sort of... We had reports from it from all over the city. Rich or poor, it didn't seem to matter.
But like this week or last week? Last month?
The last couple of weeks.
I see. Well, we will, of course, be investigating this. In the meantime, get well soon. My abilities are far outmatched by the healers here. I don't know. And there's no point in me taking a look at your nodules and your growths.
Very good, thank you, Orixion. Thank you. We'll catch you. We'll be right behind you, Councillor. We'll be taking on this work for the good of the city. As you know, that is for what we have always been working. And make all due haste to the doctors.
Very well. I will help where I can. But I can also recommend... There has been one case where it has been healed. A servant of Sigmar, a priest, has managed to heal someone, but the doctors discarded as just a lucky attempt. But perhaps there is something in there as well.
We should be grateful that Orixion, the just, is already halfway down the corridor, or we might be getting an earful as to the meeting of worlds between faith and healers. Where did you say this priest could be found?
She gives you like a ward number or something.
Very good, thank you very much, Councillor. Will there be anything else you can do to assist us with the beginning of our investigation?
She says, I'll continue to do what I can, but one more thing that's been bothering me is how the Conclave has been refusing to do anything about the disease for weeks now. And their inaction is possibly the worst thing they could do.
Aren't you part of the Conclave?
I am but one councillor among over 100.
Orixion runs back up the corridor and goes, "What? Corruption? Corrupt councillors? What? What did you say? Very suspect indeed. Very suspect behaviour. We will need to investigate this too. It's likely that such inaction will be at least worsening the problem, as you say, if not at its very heart.
This could just be the typical slow-moving bureaucracy, but it's impossible to say which councillors could be working against us here. I had reasons to believe some of them were under the sway of the Blackscale Coil, but I also don't believe the Coil would want to eradicate the civilians of Anvilgard.
Well, this will be the same Blackscale Coil with the same councillors back in it in the past that sabotaged the Defoliant cannons, which would have imperiled the entire city. So, whether it is the coil or not, the coil certainly has the capacity for stupidity as well as anarchism. They could still be involved, if you ask me.
Agreed.
Just a side note though, that defoliated cannon sabotaging was supposed to be like a little like distraction for like a couple of days where it got fixed rather than life destroying disease.
Stupid.
Stupid
and endangering the city.
It's dumb.
Like, maybe this was like, oh, we were just supposed to make a couple of people sick. We didn't realise we'd get the whole city.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just trying to change the government. Well, you're an idiot.
And that's what those guys in Wuhan were doing last time.
Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Just trying to shake things up a bit. Yeah, well, they're shook.
Cool.
Shook.
Wow.
All right.
Pretty heavy conversation.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can give me a medicine check. Yeah, you can give me a medicine check to study the disease and go around studying patients and prodding and poking at them. You can also give me a guile test to go and talk to different patients, if you wish.
Orixion will absolutely be attempting to gather information about the disease by observing several patients and doing some surface level tests.
Yeah. So
with the likely result that he'll just harm people and learn nothing.
Molasses can do a guile test to, I don't know, try and... Why would she care?
Should that have been more? No, you shouldn't. It's three dice.
you got 3 for medicine.
Yep, because I've only got 2 mind. I've got 1 training in medicine and 1 focus, but I've only got 2 mind.
Seems dumb.
He is. He's legitimately dumb. 3 body, 4 soul.
I got 3 successes on Guile, and she goes and interrogates all the sickies. I think she quite enjoys them all their suffering, but she's Molasses is not a fan of disease. It's a very non-violent and underhand way for people to die. So she's pretty up for rooting this nonsense out. So yeah, she's doing some investigating with 3 successes on Guile.
Nice.
If the DM was 4, I assume it was.
The DM was 4, yes.
There we go.
Anyone else?
Not much I can do here.
Zuriel would probably just be accompanying Molasses and helping ensure that Molasses doesn't turn any of these discussions into
unplug any life support machines,
dangerous interrogations. But is probably assisting there, so I can do a guiley as well.
Have you heard of the blissful death of a blood ritual?
It's probably not for you. Let's move
on. Cool. So
yes. Wow, 3 1s and a 2.
Well, get them out. Get them out early.
Get them out early, yeah.
So Orixion, you go poking and prodding people, sort of sitting in corridors and stuff, and hello. Boop, boop.
Let me have a look at your knee. Looking a bit lumpy there.
So what Morgan Kassan said to you, you managed to verify. The beginning symptoms of the plague are fever and weakness, followed by aggressive formation of pus-filled tumours. What you do notice, talking to some people who are examining some perhaps some people who have had some fight wounds, maybe some sort of gladiators, maybe one or two. You notice that the tumours appearing around the scars of old wounds, which you think is medically curious.
Very curious.
You also can confer that the swelling. You can confer, second opinion, that the swelling growths killed the victim by suffocating them or crushing their vital organs.
Jesus Christ!
This can take anywhere from a month to just a couple of days.
Yikes.
Um,
Filled tumours crushing your organs.
it's a good one, isn't it?
I'd hate to get sick in a fantasy setting.
Yeah, he'd be like, "This is bloody brilliant. There's dragons and orcs. I can fly, and I got magic spells. Oh no, I've got a pus tumor."
Oh no, my hands have turned to ash. Ah, god damn it.
Even just getting like a toothache. It's like
Great.
great.
Vital.
The tooth could like explode into shards, impaling your family or something.
And it would.
Anyway.
That's definitely a Nurgle disease.
Yeah. Explosive teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Dark Eldar weapon, or is Dark Eldar weapon.
Oh yeah. Not Ossifactor. Gross.
Yeah, it makes your bones grow so fast they explode out your own body. It's a horrendous weapon.
And so unnecessary.
Just terribly.
Just shoot things out the end. Make a gun. It's easy. Like.
Yeah.
No, it makes your liver turn to alcohol fire in your body.
Now I know where Fabius Bile gets his little injector gun idea from.
Yeah.
And the last thing you find out, you do encounter the patient who is on the path to recovery because of this priest. And you find out that this priest excised her tumours and then cauterized the incisions with a searing light of Sigmar. But to wield Sigmar's light in that way is in a very precise way. You think is quite the rarity, quite the skilled priest.
I'm pretty sure I can do that. Right, like Mr. Lambton? Yes! I can do that.
Yeah, you need like a focusing crystal for your lantern. You can just...
The Kyber crystal.
Yeah. Then you can have a lantern lightsaber. Anyway.
Of Sigmar.
The light blade of Sigmar.
I need a relic. That can be my relic.
You got a lantern.
Maybe next week.
Yeah. Maybe we should come up with custom rules for the lantern. You can like level up your lantern.
Yes.
Maybe we should make like an AoE attack with it. Well, you kind of already have them. Well, yeah. Anyway, it should at least give you like +1
It's
damage or something.
It's shit. It doesn't give you anything at all unless you pick up the miracle that I picked up. And even that's not that great. Anyway,
and then Molasses on your little interrogation circuit, beguiling,
Yep.
but
Very
interrogating. What you discover is many patients come from the poorer neighbourhood in the outer ring.
Jeez, it's getting very real, isn't it?
They can only afford Lady Vespril's high fees because they have taken punishing loans from the Black Scale Coil.
oh come on!
Wait, say that again. But
So
there's no healthcare, or do they pay for medicine? And yeah, they pay for medicine, right?
Yeah,
I think that's low charge.
Yeah, I explained earlier. They've got this huge crystal container of Aqua Nurglis, because basically they lend it to people and then they get them to pay it back with interest.
Who's they?
Obviously,
Who's they?
the hospital. So basically, it's like a bank as well as hospital.
Hospital / bank, sure.
Yeah.
But people can't afford it because they owe massive loans to the black scale coil.
Well, they have to take the loans to be able to pay for the hospital treatment.
That's all a bit too real, isn't it? I've come to this evening for escape, not to relive the rise in the cost of living crisis and the bloody black scale Tories fucking
Whoa!
around.
Heyo.
What, you mean your blood ritual mates?
Yeah, that was fun. That was all good
In
harmless
your-
fun. That's all good. That's good harmless satanic
Bit of
fun.
harmless fun, you know, after hours in Westminster.
It's a rat creature. It looked a bit like fucking... What's his face? Ghoulish man.
Send the intern out to get a suitcase full of Aqua Nurglis.
And a head of a pig.
Head of a working class person.
Yep. A Corbinite. From the anyway. Too real. Poor Molasses.
real.
Poor Molasses feels like she's on Twitter right now. We gotta bring in some more magma droths.
Yeah, bring me to Instagram, please.
Yeah.
Um,
And then you also find out. I don't feel like it's going to get any better, but you do find out that those with families, the patients that have families, express relief that their households haven't fallen ill too. While the illness is localized to a degree, infecting many residents of a tenement or street at once, what's strange is that those with direct contact with the infected don't seem to have any higher or lower chance of contracting the plague.
okay.
So it seems to be not contagious through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Necessarily.
No bubbles.
I run around doing those dramatic, like, smacking the meal plates out of everyone's hand, you know, like, it's in the burgers, it's in the burgers. I'm just like, don't eat the meat.
It's in the
I
jelly,
don't know.
the jelly pots.
It has the jelly pots.
And then one more because you got a total success of 3 or more.
Oh, wow, okay, wow.
Oh,
Great,
oh,
keep going.
great.
I think it was info.
Yeah. You notice
Uh-huh.
a pattern. More than half the patients with this plague. It's colloquially named the Burstings, by the way.
Oh.
God.
Very serious.
So more than half of the patients had injuries like deep cuts or broken bones before the disease struck. Amongst those that didn't, the majority had another sickness like a cough or the sniffles that morphed into the Burstings.
Broken Brones, alright there. Broken Brones.
Broken bronies.
Broken Bronies. Broken Bones or existing or pre-existing conditions.
And you have, there were some gladiators that got their tumours specifically over old wounds, so maybe in scar tissue.
Well, it sounds like it's just like a disease that just amplifies of other weak tissue, or weak injuries, or weak disease. Just makes
Yeah.
its way in it. Luckily, we've none of us have ever been harmed or scarred or injured at all.
Oh yeah, of course. No.
So we're all invincible, I think is the correct word.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you haven't got like a face covered in
I've got a
burn marks from your...
I'm currently half covered in acid, aren't I? Jesus Christ. Great.
You're still covered in goop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can. There's some people you can talk to, or you can report back to Morgan Kassan. You can go talk to this priest fella.
Yeah.
There's a rather rowdy sort of daughter of there's a rather rowdy daughter of Cain gladiator.
I'll talk to her. We found out it was getting conflicting, of course, because generally Molasses does not like the Black Scale Coil. They wind her up. There's a lot of people been part of that group she doesn't really enjoy. However, we found out last session they are aligned with Morathi. So yeah, there's a bit of conflict going on because they generally all suck as people, every single one of them. However, they got the right idea about things. So yeah, it's
They have that in
trying
common.
I'm just trying to find a good one.
Yeah, so it really is like the Grand Conclave then. Like they all suck, but
I'm noticing the parallels.
heart's in the right place.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, I'm saying their heart's usually not in the right place because they worship Marathi, so generally hearts are flat against the walls.
Yeah.
But well, I will talk to the daughter of Cain.
Okay.
I'll let everyone else do whatever they want to do, or we can do that. Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, Zuriel will probably be most interested in talking to the priest. With whoever else would like to come with.
Oh, I get to do the priest voice.
The
The priest voice.
Oh.
I don't have anything to tell you.
The red priest herring.
Look, sometimes the priest has exactly the information you need.
Sometimes he's the villain,
That's true.
which is even more fun.
Priests are extremely fucking suspicious, if you ask me.
I watched Spotlight yesterday, so priests are very suspicious to me at the moment.
Fair play. Who do we want to talk to first?
Orixion really would like to go and see the priest and find out how this person has managed to create a Sigmar laser that can
Zuriel's very keen on that information as well.
melt and rebind flesh.
Yeah. All right.
he
So,
will go.
the storm
Others
first.
are welcome to come with, but Orixion would like to head off in the direction of the ward that we were given the name of.
Okay, so you find this priest seemingly working at the hospital, healing people. Not in the sort of laser sort of healing, but in normal contemporary ways. Contemporary healing, you know, dabbing foreheads and
leeches.
Yep, dabbing.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Anyway, yeah. So you can approach him.
Well met, faithful of the God King. I am Orixion the Just, Knight Azyros of the Knight Excelsior. This is my brother in Sigmar, Zuriel Stormwake of the Celestial Vindicators, and two mortals that also are part of our group. No, he wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say that.
I think the elves are off anyway, talking to someone else.
Oh, well, that's convenient then, because that means he doesn't have to like awkwardly think of a form of address for them that is not immediately like denigrating them by comparison. This is my brother in Sigmar, Zuriel Stormwake of the Celestial Vindicators. What are you about here?
He looks at you with sort of surprised expression. Says, "My, two Stormcast come to visit the hospital. I've never seen the like in my days here. I am well. What can I do for you? It is the most highest honor."
Oh, you may honor us in turn by explaining how you saved a life from this revolting infection that we see all around us.
And he says, "Yes, I could have assumed that you were going to talk to me about that. It's all anyone wants to discuss with me.
No one ever asked me about my band."
Yeah.
Just about the laser lights." Yeah, he's like, is it Life of Brian when they're all like, "Please, I have a gammy leg." Anyway.
Not a clue, sorry.
I think that might be the other one. Oh no, yeah, Left Brian. Yeah, sorry, it's not.
When they're all like asking for
It's not Brian,
miracles.
They
Yes.
wanted to heal them.
Yeah. I am afflicted by a bald patch.
I am as well.
Yes, he says. He says, "Well, unfortunately, there is very little that I recall of the event. You see, my cousin Prudence was dying of the illness, and I was tending to her wounds. And when I seemed to have lost consciousness, and when I came to, they told me that I had brought Sigmar's light into the room and incised her wounds.
A most curious event.
They say that Sigmar worked through me that day, but alas, I cannot replicate it."
What is the last thing that you remember before you passed out or were possessed by our God King, one or the other?
I remember the light slowly fading and seeing my most holy work enacted on my cousin, saving her life. And the endless medics of Lady Vespril's coming to question me about what I had done.
Zuriel's just sort of observing from the side, and I guess he's wondering, just does this guy really sound like fervent? Like he really believes this? Like, is he seem really genuinely impassioned about the whole thing? Apart from the being interrogated bit.
I think he seems like he doesn't know how it happened. Wishes he could do it again, but it's like one of those weird miracles that happen through him, and he's like, well, it wasn't really me. A bit of imposter syndrome, but also if he could, he would. He's trying to maybe get to that point again. But yeah, he says, I have thought about repeating the process, obviously, but I fear I will accidentally make something worse or hurt someone in the process.
Where is Prudence now?
You actually already met her when you oh, did you meet her or did someone else meet her? I think you met her because you saw for yourself like she's the only person who seems to be getting better rather than worse.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't knowingly meet her. I might have been asked her questions, but it sounds like she doesn't really have anything to tell us. I was ill and then I wasn't. Orixion will kind of take a step, so a half sort of step closer to the guy, just to underline the 7'7" height, and therefore a clear difference between the two of them, and look down on the man and just be like, "My dear sir, I have travelled far in the God King's service. I have met many different people and seen many strange things. I can still say this is one of the oddest events that I have witnessed outside of the realm of Azir itself. It is strange indeed that a mortal such as you could do this without having any understanding or any hint of why it happened to you, in the time that it did, in the place that it did, and no further information. Now, we are the God King's servants. We are seeking out the source of this plague, that we may rid the city of it. I need you to tell me if there is anything you know that could help us complete that mission. Anything at all."
He really tries to think because he really wants to help. I think he sort of sighs in frustration and says, So I've dedicated my life to serving Sigmar and understanding his ways, but sometimes in service to a god, we cannot seek full understanding, and sometimes it is frustrating, especially when it means we can't save lives. But I will keep meditating and praying to Sigmar that he reveals his ways to us so we can learn this treatment. But the one thing it does make me think is that if the holy light of Sigmar is able to heal this disease, then perhaps it is more nefarious than just a simple jungle disease, for example. Perhaps we need the power of Sigmar to quell whatever is causing this. I speak, of course, of the Chaos Gods.
Orixion looks at him for a second and then just sort of like, as a sort of,
This might answer your question.
Alexa, shut up!
Well.
What did you say then?
I don't think said anything that sounded like it.
Orixion.
Alex, just play Soulbound the musical.
That's got to be like the clip episode at the end of the campaign. We've got to do Soulbound. Like that one of those episodes.
They stab, every day. Every day. I'm not.
I go right to do the shadows when I go.
Right.
Right
No,
on to do the shadows to kill you. Orixion looks at him for a second and then just sort of like makes a kind of grim smile and says, and sort of nods a little bit. Says, "I fear you may be correct. Thank you for your time, your insight." And then he sort of turns on his heel and leaves.
Good
and
luck.
actually, he looks quite impatient. He's like, "Come, brother. We'll learn nothing more here."
Thank you for your time.
Good luck, brothers of Sigmar. And then, do they do a salute? Sigmarites do a salute.
That's a great question.
They do something. It's like there's a symbol of, I don't know.
There is one.
Yeah.
It's probably like a
The symbol. Yeah, there's the comet or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
it can't be as bad as the Aquila.
Some sort of shit like that. I don't know. Yeah,
What is that?
it's technically the salute in 40k that Space Marines do. Do that. Yeah, shit.
I thought it was like just crossed arms like that. Like.
I think they both count. That's pretty Hydra as well. Like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because isn't it like in the book I was listening to today? It's like when they do it all at the same time. It's like it's described as a gunshot of ceramite on ceramite.
It's a big.
And it makes it sound cooler than when you have like just a regular person being like, "Oh, thank you, my lord, thank you."
Yeah.
All Space Marines did a Tutankhamun impression.
Or I think they sometimes do like a half Aquila, like a half serious salute where they're like.
And also, like, if it was just that every time, if what they did was slam their arm martially across their chest and make a big clanging noise,
I mean, there's a lot of that in
that's,
every.
you know, that's fine. It's just, I can't. This is not.
What's
not
our
on.
salute going to be?
Perkins never did that for us.
That's right. Maybe we should go back and do some more Perkins time.
I love how Perkins came on with you at the final encounter.
Yeah, why didn't we have
Just
a
remembered
Perkins?
that with his trusty
That's a
shotgun.
very good point.
Yeah, there's one tavern keep, but he's a Dwarden. Good at Dwarden, Perkins.
Cultists of Sigmar have two primary salutes. The first is the V finger salute.
Well, like Churchill.
Yeah. Which represents the two tails of the comet.
Wait,
Yeah.
well, how is it? Well, how is
Hang
it
on a
done?
minute. The cultists
Yeah.
hold their left hand on their chest. Yeah. Right arm thrust to the front. Hand raised to head level with the fist clenched. First and second fingers extended. This sign is reversed. Palm palm
That is-
facing the face rather than the person saluted, to be used as a taunt or insult. Ha 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 ha! Very
Okay,
good.
The first thing you did was just an anime
Yeah.
girl pose.
Yes. Well, look, I'm reading this from WarhammerFantasy.fandom.com.
What the
And just while we're here, the second sign is a ward and involves making a hammer shape on the trunk. The forefinger touches the navel, the V, the collarbone. So what? The right,
How
the
long are your
chest,
fingers?
and
The
the
navel?
left chest. What? I'm
is
afraid I
mad.
don't understand this one.
Is it just like
We should probably move on.
is it too
Ah,
connected?
like-
Yeah. I was thinking that. Yeah.
But that's not really a hammer, is it? Still, like
He's making a hammer shape on the
it's still not coming to my collarbone, not even close, and I have quite big hands.
These nerds know what they're talking about.
Okay, I'm
never be able
fucking-
to make
I'm
practice
lost.
party work.
Um,
Salute's the most important part.
Anyway, the V, that's good.
yeah. Meanwhile, in Ward C, Molasses, you are talking to, or you're approaching the Daris Breakhand.
Say it again.
That's what happens when you try to do the salute.
It's Italian. Madeiras Breakdown. Oh, I was like trying to guess first.
That's a good name.
Hmm.
All right.
Also known as the Scarlet Typhoon in the Gladiator Pits.
Oh, Molasses needs a gladiator name.
He really has double blades then, doesn't he?
The sticky sugar.
Or can you not answer that?
I assume it's a she because it's daughter of Cain, but maybe that's
Yeah.
very precious of me. Are there male daughters of Cain?
There are male Khainite Shadowstalkers.
Fair enough.
I don't think. I don't know. In the main Daughters of Cain, I think they're all female, aren't they? Because it's a matriarchal thing,
Hey, look, it's Molasses.
like the Drow.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty close. There's a little jaggedy.
Very. Never get the
Shadowy.
focus right
Yeah.
these things, can you?
No.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, and they got the cloak and shit.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. Cool.
Yeah,
I just remembered I have them in the case at the moment.
Yeah.
I need better. Weapons because two little daggers. One of them's all right. The other one's the little
And they-
regular dagger.
Not hear any more of you complaining about your 12 damage ignores armor stuns enemy weapon.
Only like once a combat. Right. Nadera's Breakhand, the Scot. So
Yeah.
Molasses is a little starstruck, I think, as she
Okay.
kind of realizes this is one of her favourite gladiators
Yeah,
that
and she
she's
does,
seen in her time.
and she does not disappoint. She's in the middle of a very overcrowded ward, but she's surrounded by a crowd of other patients as she's telling like a story about one fight that she was in and stuff, and basically slagging off some rival fighter who everyone else knows and stuff, and everyone's enjoying it a lot.
Brilliant. Well, Molasses is finally happy to be in this hospital. Barges away to the front of the crowd, eager to get an autograph. How worse or worse does Nadera seem, given everything?
Doesn't seem too bad, but you can start to see the black spots appearing on like near cuts on her skin.
Molasses casts an illusion of some kind of, I don't know, like kind of bell ringing or some kind of thing to make the gathered crowd assume it's time to leave. Maybe a fussy matron comes in and shoos them away, or something just to clear the space.
A boat comes in.
Yeah.
It's not always a boat.
I think it's always a boat.
I always find a boat crashes
No.
through the window.
Nautical illusion spell, right?
That's it. One variation and no more.
Yeah.
To chew away the rabble, because assuming that this thing feeds basically on injuries, doesn't seem like Naderis is much long for this world. So choose the crowds and the Scarlet Typhoon. What an honor to meet you. You are a whirlwind of death, a pleasure of doom. It's a shame to see you so laid up in such a non-violent or bloody way.
says, well, thank you. It's always nice to meet a fan.
No, your biggest. How? Sorry to cut to the chase. This is not a particularly nice subject, but how long have you been afflicted with this illness?
She leans out of the door and sort of looks out of the door and then ignores your question and says, are you the daughter of Cain who I saw walking around with a couple of Stormcast Eternals?
Yeah, but don't judge me. They're very useful idiots.
I've heard of a couple of Stormcast and a couple of elves making all sorts of nuisance for the Black Scale Coil. So where do your allegiances really lie, I ask?
Well, it's actually a very complicated question, to be fair. But they lie with, as always, with the god of blood and destruction, Morathi, and Cain. And I am bound to these insipid do-gooders, unfortunately, by the binding. So unfortunately, I'm afflicted with the curse of having to help them. But also, we've come across some rather disgusting chaos creatures which we've brutally murdered, which has been wonderful, to be honest. So it's not all bad, the good and the bad, you know. But also this Black Scale Coil have also been quite the nuisance as well. They're not the I think they think they're a lot more dark and twisted than they are, but they're all a bunch of non-violent silly billies. I don't approve of their work. If they were more adept at what they did, I'd probably fall in line. But they tend to just mess things up more often than not. Wouldn't you say?
She says, well, I think the Corps have been quite good for me. They've put a lot of money behind me in the pits, but...
And look where it's got you.
Well, that's true. That's true indeed. If I die in a bed, that'll be... If I knew I was going to die in a bed, I would never have signed up for it.
I was going to say, this is... it pains me to say this, but from what we've been finding out, this disease seems to prey itself on injuries and existing wounds, and I imagine you've got quite a few deep scars and cuts and bruises. I feel like you might not survive very long in this ward. Would you not prefer to be out there dying on the battlefield?
Potentially, but I would also like to get a chance of getting better. I don't feel like I'm leaving this world too soon. I feel I will see the pits again.
I'd hate to break it to you, but there's unfortunately only one way out, and that's to spit on the ground, get blessed by some kind of Sigmar light. It sounds awful if you ask me, but we've seen a lot of this illness, and I'm afraid there's no way out unless you were to succumb to this do-goodery and this blessings, which if I were you, I wouldn't take in a bygone.
Well, you must be asking me questions for a reason. Might understand that your little band is investigating this disease. Perhaps there is a chance after all.
Well, like I say, the only way we've seen is one person who's saved themselves by taking on the blessing of Sigmar and cauterizing wounds. It did sound delightfully painful, but also required a bit too much of the light blessing-y stuff, unfortunately. It's personally, I think it's all very discussed, this disease. People should die out on the bloody battlefield, missing limbs and ears and eyes, not slowly with a cough.
So, I couldn't agree more. And
I'm helping to end.
Who is your handsome friend?
You follow me, is it Carrich?
I assume so.
No,
well, this is Daswald the Hat, very handsome.
Sure. I guess
This is Bertha the Hammer, very handsome, and this is Carrich Bonnh.
And Ari.
Yeah, I was about to say.
The Mastori.
Oh, sorry. There's too many. He has too many of these strange things following him around. But yes, Carrich very useful, and helps smush things as well. It's wonderful. He's very good at smushing things. You'll make a fine gladiator one day.
Yes, I would love to get into the pits with you, Mr. Carrich Bonnh. Perhaps one day in the future when I get out of here.
Just no reply, just a look of annoyance at the suggestion of actually doing this for fun.
Don't you remember, Carrich, when we first arrived in Anvilgard? You came with me to the pits and we had a right old slaughter.
It's true, that was canon.
Yeah,
Canon.
I know. But he went there just to stop Molasses from going overboard.
Yeah, well, tell that to what's his face he squashed down in the lava pits.
Trading is a different story, and we all know this.
I think that Darius is definitely enjoying the bickering, though. I think she's enjoying the drama.
Oh yeah, all about the dragons.
The back and forth.
I'd hate to reiterate, to be honest, it's not politeness is never something I was adhered to. But again, you're going to die very soon, Darius. I'm sorry to say. You either have two options: leave and go and die on the battlefield. I'd be more than happy to fight you, or maybe we can try and save your life with this blessings of Sigmar nonsense. But these are your two options. Or third, just die where you are in the coming days.
Well, you don't fill me with hope that you're going to do anything, but maybe I'll give it another day or two, and then if I'm feeling close to death, I'll seek out a worthy opponent.
Well, I'd be honoured to be that worthy opponent. While you're half staggering around. So she would be a fair fight. One question for you then. You seem pretty invested in this dark black-scale coil, these nonsense fools. I've heard troubling tales of them not helping at all with the people on the streets trying to find illness to cure away this stupid disease, and the black-scale coil have been exploiting and extorting them, which most times is a very hilarious thing to do, but in this case, it's only making this disease last longer and spread farther. They're not a good people worth following or helping. Is there anything you can tell me that could help get rid of them or eradicate their hold over the city?
She just shrugs and says, "They pay me. I don't really know much about them, but if you want to spill blood for money, then unfortunately they're the ones who pay you well."
Well, I tried.
Perhaps you should go and ask the Grand Conclave. Aren't they supposed to be the ones who protect the people of Anvilgard?
Yeah, they're all getting sick too.
Perhaps you can go and talk to Lady Vespril and ask her to treat people without driving a hard price.
It sounds like a very good thing to do. Put me at odds.
You can't say she's short on Aqua Nurglis, can you?
Ooh, I need some of that. Okay, I'll talk to her. Good luck again. Please send me a carrier pigeon when you feel like a duel to the death in the next 12 hours as your illness makes you succumb to all the pustules and death.
I shall send you a Khainite pigeon.
Lovely. Good luck with that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, a blood red pigeon. Nice. So so that is everything you can find out from talking to people and stuff. And as you return to Morgan Kassan, perhaps you are sharing what you've learnt. And a messenger arrives with a letter for Morgan Kassan. And her eyes widen as she reads it. And then she directs you all into an empty area to tell you what she's learnt. And she says, now I don't quite know how to tell you this, but did you perhaps hear that the Grand Conclave requisitioned another expedition to recover the Crucible of Life after you returned without it?
Oh no.
Did we? Because we knew that our character. I can't remember. Did we know that?
Yeah,
we
the
did.
Lord Castellan told you.
But he told us that he would try. We didn't actually know that they actually went for it, right?
Well, I think we assumed it would go pretty well.
Given that it never succeeded before, I didn't assume that they would just get it. Especially since there was it wasn't free. It was a massive enemy waiting for them.
Yeah, but you could just send like a shit ton of mercenaries to go and like Caradron mercenaries, get rid of it pretty easily.
I just assumed they wouldn't manage, to be honest. I'm very surprised to hear you say that they got it.
I'm not. Well, I am. We left it at the bottom of a lava pit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there was it wasn't dropped? No.
Yeah, it was dropped in the lava,
Yeah,
right?
yes, it was actually as well, also. Yes.
And the big creature was still there. And we left Drayden's body just blocking the entrance as well, which was pretty useful.
Stop.
Yeah, but he was like that thin.
It's like stuffed in. Like...
He was
But he was probably like a slipping hazard.
That's true. Yeah.
he was
Just
a
puddle
pate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pate.
She says, "Well, this is a letter from the office of the leader of the conclave, Tibor Hallow. What's his name? Tibor Hallowgate. My superior. He's told me that unfortunately the Crucible of Life has been stolen from the Conclave Vaults.
Well, that's even better.
He's requested that we make all haste to the vaults to meet him there.
And really, it's a wonder that we didn't bring the Crucible back to be put into the safekeeping of the Conclave, isn't it? Truly.
Yes, I was not. I was personally against a second expedition, but I was overruled.
Well, then I suppose we had better once again set off on an expedition to acquire the Crucible of Life.
Oh, Lord.
Perhaps at a time when there is a significant need for it in this city.
Well, quite. It seems to be probably the worst time for it to disappear. But I also don't understand why the Conclave wasn't using it already. Again, very suspicious.
I'm quite sure Orixion the Just will root out the corrupt officials and deal with them.
Aye.
Just call him Orixion the Guillotine.
Yes, please. I'd love for that to be Orixion's legacy.
The flying guillotine.
Yeah, Ricky Chop Chop.
Yeah, Ricky Chop Chop.
So yeah, you make all haste to the Grand Hall of the Conclave. Morgan Kassan does insist on coming. I don't know if you try and stop her at all.
Nope.
I mean, probably, well, we know it's not contagious, so yeah, that's fine, yeah. All good.
That's true. Yeah, now you know.
The more you know.
Cool. So you arrive at the you arrive at the Grand Conclave Hall, and Morgan Kassan guides you to the entrance to the vaults, where the leader of the Grand Conclave, Tibor Hallowgate, is waiting. And you've met him before because you've sat on the council and been part of the council before. And he greets you and thanks you for coming. And he says, yes, thank you for coming. My request, I didn't know who else to trust. Morgan, I know you have your suspicions about the Conclave. This seems to almost confirm them. I don't know who else to turn to. I will take you to the scene of the crime if you will follow me. And he guides you down into the. And I'm thinking of like the Ministry of, is it prophecies in Harry Potter. Is it?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the
Cool. Some kind of
Department
kind
of Mysteries.
Yeah, like the black
Yeah.
shiny corridors and stuff, and
Shiny as fuck.
you can see vaults, along the sides, different vaults holding things.
Orixion sticks very close to him, by the
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
Like, close enough to slash out, cut his head off if need be.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Very suspicious.
And you sort of bypass guards, anvils of the Heldenhammer guards, and Orixion, you hear him sort of muttering incantations and sort of thrusting a talisman forward, which you understand to be him deactivating like magical wards, like protective wards, as he goes.
Brother, what do you feel around us? Wards?
Wards or no wards?
DM, what do I feel around us?
Yeah, you can sense
Orixion
the
finds that suspicious and would ask Zuriel if, like, to verify the assumption.
Yeah, you can with your witch sense, you can see these protective wards. Some of them are for like detecting intruders. Some of them are for repelling intruders. Some of them you can maybe see are like connected to mechanisms, like almost like